One of the main boundaries that we all have difficulty with, including myself, is saying no to people. If I say
Wow.
no,
Mhm.
I feel abandoned. Will my
Mm.
team abandon me? Will my spouse abandon me? Will this friend abandon me? Responsibility means respond in my ability.
Wow.
Respond in my ability.
Terry
Yeah,
hit on a really good point too,
yeah.
that before we move on to the next section, I would love
Mhm,
for you to just dive into just a little bit more. The
mhm.
power of your own perception, right? So Terry and I
Yeah,
talk about this all the time.
yeah, big
My
time.
perception is my choice. I get to
Mm,
choose how I look at this situation. And I
yeah,
think a lot of people subconsciously don't believe that. They
mhm,
think that their perception has to be this because this is the way
mhm.
grandma did it, or this is the
Oh,
way
boy.
grandpa did it, right? And how that's passed down from generation to generation. I remember when the light bulb went off for me, I was just like, I think I started reading Viktor Frankl's book. This
Mhm.
man was
Yeah,
Jewish, persecuted by
Jewish,
the
yeah,
Nazis. He
yeah,
was watching horrific things happen,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
chose to have a different perspective.
yeah.
And the light bulb went off. It's like, man, that's your choice. He basically said, look, I choose to look at life this way.
That's
And
right.
everybody has the ability to do that. Can you just touch on that just a little bit?
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with that, and my take on that is perception is reality. It's
Mm,
it's real. It's a real phenomenon. It's what you see, it's what you understand. And in terms of like Viktor Frankl, he used the power of his capacity. I'm gonna always go back to that.
mm,
He
Mm.
used the power of his capacity to determine how to move forward, which in other again language words is perception.
mm,
It is how I choose, and let's go there. How I choose to see this is gonna be the thing that becomes the bridge for me to get out of this. Now,
mm.
there were millions beside him, right?
Right,
That didn't make it out.
right.
Why? Because of their perception of their circumstances, their situations. They fell prey to imposter syndrome, into guilt,
Mm,
into shame,
mm,
into
Mm.
abuse. There's so many things that you can fall prey to
mm,
when it comes to your perception. But you
mm,
have to be able to that third one,
mm,
that and I call it 3C method. That third C, courage in
mhm,
the face of fear. And you said it, Terry, too. In resiliency, I move forward. I choose courage versus, again, we love character. Character is great, but character doesn't always carry us there. Viktor
mm,
Frankl, I'm
Mm.
sure, was a great man.
mhm,
I'm sure he had a lot of principles, but he had to dig deep and find the fortitude, the
Mm.
resiliency, the courage to perceive something differently.
mm.
And that is the things that we talked about just a minute ago, the abuse, whether it's church work, you have to be able to have courage to face whatever it is, period. And it
Ooh,
always goes back to that. And
Mm.
it's based on our condition. And you
oh,
touched on that, Ralph, the condition of the person. Mama baked her ham like this. That's why I put that. Half of the times we don't know why you put that in there, Amethyst. Well, I don't know. My mama did it. It tastes good.
right,
But you know
right.
what? Each generation has to add a little bit more to it. That's
Mhm,
what I say. Add a
mhm,
little bit more to that recipe. Add a
mhm,
little bit more to that tradition. It does not have to stay the same. But that's
mm.
also where we get stuck in our perceptions as well.
You got me excited. You got me excited because when you said we can fall prey to a
Yeah,
victim mentality.
absolutely.
Think about think about that, because so many
Yes.
people think that, "No, that's just naturally me." No, no,
Mm-mm.
it is your
Yes.
choice and your perception that you get
Yeah,
to choose if you view yourself as an overcomer or
yeah,
as a victim, right?
yeah.
That's not, like, genetically imprinted in your DNA, right?
Mm-mm.
You get a choice, right? It's very empowering, very
Yeah,
empowering. But
absolutely.
let's go to the next, section. This is good. Why boundaries are a leadership skill and not a
Yeah.
weakness. So
Mm,
so a whole many leaders struggle with boundaries, right?
mm.
And how does that directly contribute to burnout?
Oh boy. Well, I was thinking about boundaries the other day, and one of the main boundaries that we all have difficulty with, including myself, is saying no to people.
Mm,
And I thought about, what's the first few things that a kid says when they're growing up? Da and no.
and
And
no,
no, that's
that's
it.
right.
That's true. That's the first.
So true.
So how is it that we as adults struggle with no when we started off with that thing?
You know
Good
what?
question.
That's heavy. That's a heavy. Because
I was
here's
like,
the
wait a
question. The
minute
question
here.
becomes is how do they even know to do? I mean, how
See,
where does that?
Wow,
just
That's
pause
heavy.
right there, Terry, please. Oh my God.
that's good. Yes, please dig into it. That's
How do
so
they
good.
even know to say no?
Mm, mm,
Oh my God. Leaders struggle with it. I struggle with it because it's usually associated with guilt.
mm,
It's usually
Mm,
associated with shame.
mm,
That shame and guilt comes from your environment, whether it's home, whether it's your first job, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a boss. You learn over time. You're conditioned to understand what that no is attached to. I'm really big on
mm,
the
mm,
judgments that we give ourselves. When I say no in a situation, what am I attaching that to?
mm.
What am I associating that with? Oftentimes, and I'll tell my own stories, I've always associated that with abandonment. If I say
Wow.
no,
Mhm,
I feel abandoned. Will my
mm,
team abandon me? Will my spouse abandon me? Will this friend abandon me?
mhm,
My way of dealing with that, with this aspect of boundaries, is you gotta detach it from those characteristics that you grew up with. So it
okay.
takes a little work and a lot of digging to
Mhm,
really begin to deal with the judgments that you've created in your own world,
mm,
that you committed to.
mm,
Your values and beliefs, that's what that is. Do I value what I'm saying no to? So
mhm,
if I value it, I'm gonna do it, right?
that's
I'm no
good.
longer tied to guilt and shame. And there's
Mhm,
so much I know there's so much in that.
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
committed to it. Like what we believe is what we commit to, right? If I say I believe I'm going to be on this show today, I'm going to
mhm,
do what I need to do to make that happen. The root word, if you study biblically in Greek, it means commit. If I
mhm,
say I believe something, how do you know that that employee is going to show up? If they commit to it and they show up, right? They
mhm,
do it.
mhm.
They respond in their ability. Responsibility means respond in my ability.
Wow.
Respond in my ability.
Oh, that's
So
good.
boundaries, it's the same thing. A boundary should be set based upon your ability. So
That's
right
good.
now, I can't be present with you because let's go back to the top of this conversation because I don't have the capacity right now.
Right, right,
No doesn't mean never, right?
right.
It just means right now I need to do some reflection for myself so
Mhm,
that I can show up for you 100%. So
mhm,
I just disconnected my no from abandonment
mhm,
to now value to now commitment to now responsibility. I'm responding in my ability.
mhm,
So that child, let's go back here and I'm going to end with that part. Let's go back to that child. Cherry, you said, how do they know? Because they know their ability.
mm.
They didn't know any their
ooh.
ability is no.
That is so good.
They don't have the
Oh,
language
they
beyond no.
Mm.
so it's a capacity thing. They
It's a
understand
capacity
it.
thing. Absolutely.
Wow.
And they
Yeah.
haven't been
Yeah.
Wow.
conditioned to attach that no to some kinda denial or
Yes.
shame or anything like
Yes.
that.
Ooh, denial. Yeah.
You
Yes.
just changed my
Yes.
life. Responsibility is respond in my
Your
ability.
ability. Yeah. That's all we can do. Yeah.
That is
Even performance wise. Like I ran track for years, but I can run, say, an 11 flat, right?
mhm,
In 100, right? I'm
mhm.
not gonna get out
Wow.
there and run. I'm not
You were
gonna run
moving. Imma just say right now, you were moving. That's all Imma say
yeah,
right
Oh,
but
now.
I'm not
she was
gonna
bad on the track field. Yeah, I'm a witness.
thank you, but I'm not gonna run a 9.9
Mm,
Right.
mm,
because I don't have the capacity for it.
mm.
I'm
Wow.
responding in
Wow.
my
That's
ability.
good.
I
That's
That
can't
is so
do
good.
it.
good.
But
That's
I
good.
can what? I can condition myself
Mhm. Mhm.
to
Sure.
become better
Sure.
and
Mhm.
stronger and
Sure.
wise. And so that's how we lost our no. That's how we
Wow.
lost our no. What do we condition ourselves in over these years? And we all got a slew of things that we can think of on how we lost our no. How was it so strong then? And now it's like, well, maybe I'll do it, even though we know we don't have the capacity for it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to
Yeah.
be accessible to people,
Mhm.
but we don't want to be responsible to ourselves.
Mm.
Mm.
Yo, you gotta say that again. You gotta say that again.
Look, we want to be accessible to people, but not
Mhm.
responsible to ourselves. I deal with it daily. I deal with it. I've worked with athletes, I've worked with CEOs, and it never fails. That's the struggle that they have when they sit down, when they are given positions to be presidents over university. People don't know that they're struggling with imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
Why? Because of that factor of honesty versus vulnerability. They don't
Mm.
want people to know what they don't want to tell them, right?
Right.
And so my challenge with them is to you can only respond in your ability.
Mhm.
They're not looking for you to be magical and all of this when you show up. They just need you. They need you to show up. And that's how they begin to grow their capacity, their condition.
Mm.
Again, asking those same questions again and again.
Can
Yeah.
you
Sure.
can you just dive a little bit as we're talking about boundaries
Yeah.
then? So if we understand now that the boundary is to help us, protect ourselves so we can be the best. Talk about
Protect.
how that empowers you to be, even better than being one who says yes to everybody else.
Yeah, disconnecting from it being weakness, it gives you room to show up and be available in the places and parts that you can,
Mm.
which will be stronger. So
Mhm.
if I'm spreading myself 10 different ways, at some point, some part of me is not going to be able to show up, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So how do I and here is how you really strengthen that area. What is it that I desire to do today? So you come up
Okay.
with your goals. It could be, putting it in your phone, putting it on your calendar. What is it that I desire to do today as a person, as a boss, as a physician, as a athlete? What do I desire to do today? What is my ability? And I always use this as a way to motivate people. I say put on a scale 1 to 10. 1 is I don't have no ability today. 10 is I have all the ability that I need. And I use this acronym called DARN, DARN. What's my desire? 1 through 10, right?
Mhm.
And I say 5, okay? What's my ability today? And I say it's 10. I got all the ability in the world. I feel good. I had my coffee, got my tea. What is
Mhm.
my reason for doing it now? Well, my
Mm.
reason is about a 2. I don't know if I need to be doing this anyway.
Mm.
What is my need?
Mm.
DARE. What is my need? Well, my need is about 2, right? So you got 1, you got 2 of them that's high, 2 of them. I say if you come out like that on that acronym, that's something maybe you need to parking lot, that you need to
Mm.
pause.
Mm.
But if you come out the gate and you're like, I desire to do this, I have the
Mm.
ability, I have a lot of reasons to do this, and I really need to do this, that
Mm.
is a sign. That's a
Mhm.
signal that we need to engage in this today.
Mm.
I feel
Mm.
comfortable with doing this. And that's again the internal work first,
Mhm.
but then doing that with whoever you are leading as well, teaching them that
Yeah.
this is how you get a gauge of what you need to do today, again,
Mhm.
on how to respond in your ability. And I don't know if I got off with that a little bit, but
No, that's good. That's a
yeah,
No, that
that's a
was
that's how you
perfect
perfect.
respond.
framework. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm,
And one thing that I want to add to that, right? I think it
yeah.
puts a totally different
Mhm.
framework on self-development,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because a lot of times we think self-development is reading a book, but sometimes that
Mm.
self-development is our
Mhm.
awareness, right? I'm
Mm.
Mhm.
developing myself. So
Right.
I hear a lot in of course that also can lead us to go get a book, go take a class, but
Absolutely.
it's a way to develop ourselves.
Thank you for listening to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. If today's conversation helped you grow in your leadership, influence, or your career, take a moment to visit leadershipsovereignty.com. There you'll find exclusive resources, free guides, and ways to stay connected to our community of leaders who are building purpose and success. Don't forget to rate, review, and share this episode with someone who's on the rise in their career. Until next time, lead boldly, lead with purpose, and continue to walk in sovereignty. Take care.